I think it's tough enough to win one. We've done two, so you might as well go for three, right?
Our time, baby, back to back. That's how we do it.
What do you think of this team?
Unbelievable. Nobody can beat us. Back to back years.
It's so much fun to be a part of. The crowd can have an effect on teams. The emotions get turned up.
And then last year they gave Vezina to somebody else. Number one bullshit. Oh, number one bullshit.
Here it is for you guys. Enjoy.
Welcome to The Thunder. It's me, Shooter, in the stash at home base in chilly Tampa, Florida. And Thomas Scully, you might just see a lot of his ear tonight. He is there at the scene of the crime where the Lightning lost 4-3 in a shootout loss tonight. We'll get to the game in just a minute. I want to go ahead and bring on our guest for the night, boltsbythebay.com. We've got Henry, who's kindly agreed to join us and talk about tonight's game and really the last week of hockey. So let's bring on Henry. There he is.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, welcome to the show. I guess we'll start off with you, Henry, before we go to the man on the streets who can tell us what it was like there at the arena. But the Bolts just lost. What'd you see? Hopefully, I'm assuming you watched the game by all the Lightning swag behind you.
Yeah.
And the Bolts by the Bay website, too.
Yeah, of course.
But tell us what you thought about tonight's game.
Honestly, after that one, I don't even know where you can start with that one. Like, of course, coming in with so many like bodies out of the lineup, the forward group is so thin. I don't even really know if you can really take a serious assessment from the way that one went down. But obviously, it was disappointing coming off a 3-0 lead real early on like that, and then losing it. I think they were ultimately pretty fortunate to end up getting the 1 point that they did out of it.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And, before everyone starts coming in here freaking out about losing the game, let's not forget, no Stamkos tonight. No Bassey tonight. Point, Gooch, out for a while. So, I posted on Twitter before we came on, I'll take the Blues all day long in a playoff scenario with our healthy lineup. Stash.
Like anybody with our healthy lineup. I mean, if you want to put a softball up like that one. But the only thing I really take away is, I said it coming into this game, that Corey Perry line definitely came out, stepped up with Stammer being out and Joseph being out now. And I thought they played really good minutes. They played a lot of minutes. I was surprised they actually played less than 20 because I felt like they played a little bit, like right about 20 minutes. Cirelli looked like Cirelli has been looking. He looks so fantastic. A lot of good things to take away from stretches of this game. And yeah, I mean, let's not even talk about the record of the Lightning and the two places that we just played in Minnesota and St. Louis. I mean, it's atrocious what their record is in those two buildings. So yeah, to come away with a point at all is a benefit, I think, or it's a good win. And yeah, and I mean, we see in the chat right now, Blake is asking about Hetty if he's injured. His play has been off lately. I'm a man beating a dead horse or a really big drum for a really long time. He needs to grow his damn hair back. That's all it is. It's his short hair. That's all it comes down to. But again, we saw him make a couple of, if he plays in the last two games at the blue line, at both blue lines. And here's the thing. If it's anybody, then we're like, okay, whatever, that's his defense. But it's Hedman, who we all consider him to be the best defenseman in the world. So he's not making those plays that other defensemen make, or not making those plays, if you follow what I'm saying. So, I mean, yeah, Hetty looks like a little bit off, but it's not like he lost the game or anything like that tonight. That this is a team at home that now is kind of getting healthy themselves, and they're rolling. They're looking to get back rolling. They started off hot, and they're a good team. And we, like I said, and I think Stamkos, we didn't even bring that up yet, having to leave to come back here to Tampa for the birth of his second baby is kind of a big deal when it's that last second, and you're already missing Cooch and Point, and then Joseph is missing now too. So Cernak looked good back in action. It looked good to have that full blue line healthy. They looked good overall. The young kids looked good overall. And yeah, like I said, we got the point on the road in a place that we usually get 0 points. So I'll take it with a depleted lineup.
All right, well, let's bring it to Schoolie, who is at the game. Looks like he's walking around downtown St. Louis right now. Let's hear from him before he gets shot, possibly.
In this city, it's very likely that could happen. Dirty city, but great arena. It was a great atmosphere in there. They weren't booing us, and I think Stash, you were right on the Stammer not being there. But I also wonder if that had fact in why we played Elliott tonight. They say there's some of those gimme games, and Coop knew we were going to have so many people out of the lineup. That could be why Elliott played today, because from all reports from practice yesterday, it looked like Vasi was going to be in net today.
Yeah.
The other thing is that they gave Elliott credit here. The Blues fans, of course, Elliott used to play for them. So they were giving him lots of credit at the end of the game. The guy right behind us was like, he should have got the number 2 star there. It easily could have been a lot high-scoring game where we didn't even go into overtime. But we did miss Stammer in that overtime when we were on the power play. That would have been an important part, and we'll have them. What do we have them come Thursday? I think in Tampa.
Got the rematch.
So, and Stammer will be back for that game.
Yeah, and I mean that's a week away plus, so Joseph might even be back by then too, hopefully, because there's no actual word on him yet, right? He just missed tonight.
Yeah, but I can tell you the atmosphere here at Enterprise Arena was electric. They do not shut up the whole time, which is good. It's definitely that they do Let's Go Blues almost the whole single game. They sing Old Country Road all together during the third period. They have a lot of traditions here. They count the goals after they score each goal. Their goal horn is the loudest thing you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Or hear. But it was a good atmosphere. The arena here is pretty nice.
Now, were you the guy that once we took that 3-goal lead, were you the guy that was like, throwing popcorn at people and being like, "Oh, we're gonna blow you out 7-0"?
No, we had Elliott in net. I knew that wasn't gonna happen. Actually, my words were, I really wish St. Louis scores at least one goal now because I want to hear the goal horn.
Well, they did. They
scored a
3.
few more. So you're welcome. Boo. Boo you, Schoolie. Boo.
All right. Well, let's break it down real quick. We went 11-7 for the first time in a while. Both teams did.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Chernak was back, got that crazy looking goal. And I'll show that in a second. But basically, we jumped out to that 3-goal lead, 5 minutes into the game? You had Sorelli with that goal, which, by the way, I thought that was Ketchup's first goal. So did the announcers. And
I never thought it was.
Radishes, not Ketchup.
Radish.
Oh, that was Radish. Well, it was Ketchup that was like buzzing around all night. I thought
they even announced it in the arena as Radish's goal, and then I'd seen that it got switched over to Sorelli.
Yeah. No, it was pretty clear it was Sorelli that poked it in. And at the beginning of this game, there were these first, 2 goals at least. St. Louis's defense was just horrible. They were jumping around all over the place, especially for that first goal. Then we get the power play that we did convert on. Corey Perry slams home the rebound. All of a sudden, Corey Perry was 3 goals in the last 4 games?
Yes.
Sounds about right.
5-game point streak. It's inevitable. I said it. A lot of people out there were saying that it wasn't going to happen. That he didn't have the talent, that he couldn't convert. Well, I think he's that whole line. Again, we talked about it last week. Talked about it again this week. That whole line is really doing really well, and they're creating chances. They're scoring, and they're maintaining possession in the offensive zone like they're supposed to.
I felt like they were out there the whole night. Tonight.
Yeah, that's like I said. I can't believe they didn't even get 20 minutes because it felt like they were there all night long.
Yeah, they did seem like the first line. And so after that Perry power play goal, 5 seconds later, the craziest goal you'll ever see. We win the faceoff. Chernak dumps it down the boards. And it's so weird because I swear Binnington looked like he saw this puck, but maybe it was just too late. And let's see if I can get it queued up here and share. And we'll take a look. I'm not going to share audio, but you guys can see. So we win the face-off, up the boards, and then it just kind of popped out. He looked at it, but I think it was just too late. He wasn't expecting it. And, I mean, you don't even see that in like beer league, really. So
yeah, that's crazy.
So anyway, that is the fastest 2 goals in Tampa Bay Lightning history, right there. 5
franchise
seconds.
history.
Yeah, I wonder. I didn't look it up, but I wonder what the fastest 2 goals in NHL is. I'll have to look that up while you guys are talking. But yeah. After that, not too much happened, especially for the Lightning in the rest of that period, because in the final 10 minutes of that first period, we had 0 shots. And that bled over into the second period, and that's when the momentum started to change. St. Louis, Kairu, we call him, at my house, we call him Caillou.
Kaiju. Caillou.
But it was actually him to Ryan O'Reilly who scored. Man, does ESPN love Ryan O'Reilly? They were giving that guy the old reach around this game, but he did score. And then we got the penalty, Palat with the trip. St. Louis didn't score on that power play. Penalty kill did really well, killing off 2 of the 3 penalties. St. Louis did come back right after the penalty, and Brown beat Elliott, and that's the one that Elliott's got to save. Pretty routine save there, and he just couldn't save it.
Yeah.
And then 16 minutes after their last shot in the first period, the Bolts finally get their next shot. So they went almost an entire period without getting a shot. Saw Elliott with some solid saves towards the end of that second period, and then we got a penalty. I didn't even really catch who the penalty was in the last 30 seconds of the second period, but St. Louis made us pay in the third period, right away on that power play. Barbashev with a goal. I thought Elliott should have had that one too, to be honest with you. But I'm not blaming Elliott for anything. I mean, he had some solid saves this game, but man, two of those 3 were pretty soft. But that's the life of a backup goalie. You know what you're going to get. Saw some signs of life from the Bolts. Even got a power play. Couldn't convert. We go to OT. And in OT, we actually get another power play and can't convert. And I knew we were going to lose the game then, because when you get a 4-on-3 in overtime, you've got to freaking score that goal. And you know what I hated about it the most, and people are going to be pissed at me for saying this, is Victor Hedman, not once, but twice, huge shot from up top.
Yep.
When you've got when they have 3 guys on the ice, you have to move the puck. Like, first of all, Hedman's not a sniper, right? Maybe he's just trying to get a screen, but I thought that was a horrible strategy to have him start shooting like that. ABB had 2 really good chances. Couldn't lift the puck. All you got to do is lift the puck over his pads, BB. Couldn't do it. Sorelli trickles one over top, and the Bolts can't score in overtime. Goes back to 4-on-4 for way too long. And in the shootout, we couldn't do anything. It was O'Reilly again that scored in the shootout, and that's all it took to beat us. I did write down that Corey Perry had probably one of the worst power play, or not power plays, shootout I've ever seen.
Dude.
Like,
why?
How slow can you go?
I know he's hot,
and then shoot it right at his chest.
No. Here's the thing: he came in hot, didn't hit the brakes, and then it was like, oh shit, I forgot I was supposed to do something here. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to try and score a goal. Too late. Here you go. Just take it. I don't want it anymore.
So yeah, not the greatest game, but again, like look at the roster of who we had out. No Vasi, no Stamkos, none of the superstars.
It's halfway full of Syracuse Crunch players, if you want to be honest, from less than a year ago. You know what I mean? So yeah, I say to go into their house and pull that off. And you know, the other thing is, you were talking about the power play. The one thing I've noticed too is on our power play is anytime that the opposing team, especially on the 5-on-4 traditional power play, all they really have to do is be aggressive and skate towards the puck holder, whoever has the puck for the Lightning, and that's it. Like they have no strategy for like a high pressure situation where you can like move the puck around and alleviate that pressure. Like they're always just trying to make the quick pass just to try and get away from the pressure. They don't have a plan, and that's the most effective penalty kill against the Lightning that I've seen this season. Any team that kind of sits back in the shell and tries to like just block the angles and block the lanes, the Lightning are successful against that. It's when you're putting pressure on the puck handler or whoever has the puck right away, that's when the Lightning struggle. Same thing when they're entering the zone too. So that's one of the main things that they need to work on in the power play. And that's the thing you're talking about in overtime is possession is key. So when you're up there at the top and you're just taking that blast like Hetty does, it's a 50-50 chance at best that you're going to maintain possession after a shot like that. And so we talked about it previously in one of the overtime games earlier this season. Possession is 99% of what happens in overtime and who wins is.
I thought you were going to say 9/10 of the law, and I was about
to... It's 99. It's like the most important thing in overtime is just possession, and that's why they skate it out so often and everything else. Like so, yeah, you know, there's maybe some things you can nitpick here, especially in the power play. But when you're missing the guys that are really the engine of the offense, you got to be happy with the overall effort from tonight, I think, personally.
Yeah, got the point.
Right.
Yeah, and I thought one of the biggest things from that overtime, especially like on that power play, they don't really practice 4-on-3 a lot, but especially not with the that particular arrangement of players.
Right.
Like, I can't remember who was out there to start that power play, but it was like Hedman, Perry, Sorelli, and I don't remember who the other one, but I remember
Killer.
Yeah, Killorn, yeah, and then Barber got some action too, but it's like that you'll never see like that arrangement really with a high stakes situation. But yeah, that's a good point. That's the reality.
Yeah, that's a really good point too.
Yeah, I just don't like, you know, Hedman taking that shot from the point because you've got, you know, on in regulation, you've got 9 skaters out there. when you're on the penalty or you're on the power play, and you've got a lot more traffic in front, and when you've got that 4-on-3, you've got whole 2 less bodies out there. So yeah, Thomas Schooley's still eating freaking hamburger, White Castle hamburgers. So you might start to hear him heaving.
The answer, by the way, is 2 seconds apart. I thought that's what it was. I had to verify. It's 2 seconds.
How does that happen?
It got to be an empty net.
Off a face-off.
A comeback win.
Off a face-off, I believe.
This happened in.
Yeah, but it's got to be at center
This
ice.
just happened in 2018. It was the Canadians, and it was the Max Domi and Joel Armia. Domi scored the go-ahead goal of the third period, entrance marker from center ice after the ensuing face-off.
Yep.
So,
with just 22 seconds left, teams don't often pull their goal for center ice face-offs, but with 22 seconds left, Chile my goal, the Capitals had nothing to lose. So that's exactly what it was. They scored a goal. Pulled it, yeah. Oh, we'll have to do a little further, deeper digging to find out what the other maybe fastest, if something's a little more legitimate than that.
We should be thanking their crappy boards there, really, because if we didn't get that goal, we lose that game. We don't get a single point.
That's true.
Anyway, Henry's got a website that he writes for. Tell us about the website, man, because the reason why I reached out to you, because I'm always like looking for Lightning stuff, and I always like keep running into your website and articles and checking them out. So I just want to make sure everyone gets to check out the articles, because I've been trying to get the Stash to write some good articles here for a good 3 years, and he's just got writer's block. But Henry, you're cranking out the articles.
Yeah, it's Bolts by the Bay. It's see us a lot on Twitter at Bolts by the Bay, and basically I've been the managing editor since pretty much about the start of the season in October, and then I had actually joined Bolts by the Bay as a contributor like in August. So obviously things moved pretty quickly for me there. So, and then a little background on like Bolts by the Bay is under the umbrella of Fansided, which is like a bigger network of sports like websites for teams. It's it's based on a lot of people can get in on the writing action, regardless of their background or education or whatever it is, and it's sort of like writing from a fan sort of perspective. So I've been doing the contribution since August, and I became the editor for our site. So I've been learning a lot about what sort of content can stick, and so I've been learning a lot for sure over the course of my time doing it. But yeah, Bolts by the Bay on Twitter is where we're most active. So definitely check us out.
Give us a little bit of Thanksgiving content from last week. I see the article you wrote. 5 things Lightning fans should be thankful for this year. Give us something that Lightning fans should be thankful for, because we're reeling off of a loss here. We should have got 2 points. We only got 1.
Yeah. So I thought it was a pretty timely thing. I didn't want to it's pretty easy to say, you're thankful for winning back-to-back. You're thankful for Nikita Kucherov, the easy things like that. Like one of the things that I said, be most thankful for is like just to have a chance. Lightning, they've obviously had the history that they have, and now the chance to win again. I think that was the most important thing, that I said to be thankful for. And then, a couple of other things, I always try to spin injuries into somewhat of a positive, because I believe that the adversity that it creates can, kind of build a rallying point for teams to sort of build around, and the Lightning are facing that again. So I kind of tried to spin, injuries and sort of the difficulty that it faces into, a positive, because they're able, it's right there in front of them again. These experiences, they're able to mold a championship team. So that was a little bit of the things that I said should be most thankful for. And one of the last points I made was, everything that in this organization that they've accomplished, on and off the ice comes back to ownership. I had to end with, Jeff Vinik, nothing that this organization has done over the last, 10, 11 years since he took over none of it's possible without him. And so you can't tell the Lightning story without mentioning him first and foremost.
Absolutely.
I think we all agree with that one.
That's right.
And can I just say,
Daddy Vinnick? No,
it doesn't
ahead.
it doesn't even stop at the team. Just what he has done with downtown Tampa also, because when it really made me look at it here in St. Louis, because we're staying in downtown St. Louis. We're not that far from.
I'm sorry.
Matter of fact, we just walked back from the arena. We're back at the hotel already. So
you took off your bulletproof vest already?
I had on my jacket and my
bulletproof bow tie.
Yeah.
Nice. Johnny Danger.
That's my band name.
I said it earlier when we were walking around that, you can definitely tell the difference between a downtown that has someone that really, like I said, Mr. Vinnick needs to come in here and just revamp this whole downtown down here.
Yeah.
There's like maybe 10 businesses open besides hotels around here. And then the businesses that are around, half of them aren't open on Mondays or Mondays and Tuesdays. And it's just.
So like Tampa 15 years ago.
Yeah. It's horrible down here in the city.
Yeah. I went back and I watched or I listened to some of like Stamkos's speech from the 2020 celebration at Ray J. And
beautiful.
Yeah, he totally called it out. Like, Mr. Vinnick, this is because of you. All of this, not just this team, this community.
Everyone in that arena, which was you and me, Shooter, we were there. I remember that, and I agree. And that's the other thing is we've talked about that a few times on the show in the last year or so since we've been able to go back to hockey post-pandemic ish. Life is how much construction has gone on down there. And I mean, even last week when we were there on Tuesday and I came through downtown a different way than I normally do. And I've been driving through that city for 20 years. I know a lot of people lived here longer than that, but as long as I've lived here, I've either worked there or had to drive through there. Been part of my life has been around downtown. And I almost don't recognize my own downtown, and it's in a good way, in the most beautiful and amazing way. And it's all because of Jeffrey Vinnick, really.
And he will be our guest next week. So
yeah.
Well, anyway, guys.
We lost when like the talk in the chat is just all about White Castle.
Hey, by the way, Blake, world's largest White Castle is still too freaking small. I've been to it, and it's still too small. It's not big enough.
Listen, I don't care. More. I don't care where the largest is, just as long as they have these things.
See, I wasn't going to admit this in public, but there was a White Castle like just down from the Palazzo when we were in Vegas, and I did not go. And I'm really, really mad at myself that I didn't go for that White Castle. So
your stomach will thank you for it.
No, all right, we hit it when we were in White. The last 2 times we were in Orlando over the summer, I went both times, and it was amazing. But it's just not big enough because it's the only one, and everyone is in line. Although the one in Vegas was insane. That's the main reason I didn't go.
Listen, this one, the dining room, the dining room wasn't open, so we had to call in an Uber to pick us up to go through the drive-through last night.
That's hilarious.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
All right. Well, hey, we got 2 other games that were played in the last week. Was Sunday.
Yeah,
Wild.
His favorite,
meltdown.
Stash's favorite. The last home game, Stash's favorite.
Well, you want to go back to Thursday or
we'll go back to Friday?
First? Yeah, let's go back to Friday.
Didn't happen
because Vasi had another shutout.
Back to back
for Vasi last week. We beat the Kraken,
which was also his 200th victory and 28th shutout. So I just want to go on that's insane, right? Like, just think about this. Like, we could talk about the fastest to 200 only behind Ken Dryden, right, and ahead of Braden Holtby. So fastest to 200 wins, but 28 of those wins were shutouts. That's a crazy percentage. Like I mean,
that was just regular season, right?
Yeah, that's just regular season wins. That's not accounting.
Yeah.
Including postseason shutouts. So like that's a crazy ratio of shutouts to wins and how quickly he made it to 200 wins. That's crazy.
This just in from the stash. Bassie's good.
Pretty good.
She's good. All right. So before the game even started, we had a tribute, and not to a Seattle Kraken player.
That's right. To the legend,
Rick Peckham. I did
That's
not
right.
realize that Rick had pretty much spent his whole career with Lightning.
Yeah.
And he's, Hockey Hall of Famer now. And I thought the tribute for him was awesome. They, of course, he got to speak. And the Lightning were just showering this guy with gifts.
It was amazing.
What did he get, Schoolie? He got the wife got flowers.
He got the golf club.
He
got
the
golf club
from
Pebble
FedEx.
Beach. He gets to play at Pebble Beach, man. That's the ultimate.
Close enough. But what else? He got the
Stammer
signed
gave him-
jersey. They hooked Rick up, and we got to hear him speak for.
And then and I think the biggest honor of all is they named the broadcast booth after him in his honor. If you like, that's legit right there. And
I thought that was pretty cool. And then there was another tribute. Stas, did you know there was another tribute about 10 minutes into this game?
Who? I know who you're talking about.
A young fella named Yanni Gord.
Mr. Role Player. Yeah, that guy.
Oh, it didn't seem like he. I thought Stamkos was back for a second, and holy cow, the
Kucherov was
ovation,
back.
The Yanni cheers. He got a good minute and a half video. It was excellent. It had everything we want, including him sliding around in the rain.
So it showed the overtime winner and him on the dolly over and over again for a minute and a half.
Just once or maybe twice. Him drinking out the cup. It was really well done. I think they went a little bit longer than they were supposed to because they cut off. Who was it? The community spotlight guy, which was I think Nigel. Yeah.
No, they cut that off because they didn't go to commercial. They weren't on the timeout.
Yeah. They messed up. I was at home watching, and that was a technical snafu on the broadcast part. They were supposed to go.
It was not a timeout
and didn't. And so then they fired off the community hero. So then that's when they rebooted it on the next TV timeout.
Yeah, you couldn't go in the timeout because it was on an icing, so they couldn't go to the timeout. But they thought they were going to.
Yes. I gotcha. I thought Yanni stole the spotlight there.
Who?
But anyway, I thought it was an okay tribute, and the fans were really pumped for him. A lot of 37 jerseys there. Maybe
I thought the 4-0 victory was a beautiful tribute. You're absolutely right. It was a fantastic tribute.
Well, when did they get this extra goal from? Because
3-1. Sorry, 3-0. Sorry, yeah.
But I think we can all turn the page on Yanni now. He's gone. He got his tribute. He's the enemy now.
And I liked your post, Thomas. It's not that we don't really see eye to eye that often, anyways, especially not on this situation. But I did like that you went on the old group post and thoughts about, hey, he was here, he came, he did his thing. We all had our moments, including me. Now it's time to move on. And I've been playing a little coy about it, but I never hated Yanni. You guys know that. It's just the fans that got a little bit too passionate, as they sometimes tend to do about role players in this team.
But
someone's got to be the hot take guy. You know what I mean? And it's always me. So
Joe Smith reached out to me and he said why we were still at the game, and he reached out and he said, "Why do you think he got such that loud applause?" And I said, his personality, and that's why the fans loved him. He had a personality that could not be matched that much by many people on any of our teams. The only one I can really think of who had a personality like him was Strawman, who was also a fan favorite.
I also think it's kind of lightning in a bottle situation too. Right time, right place.
Two fresh Stanley Cup champions. Never really got to say goodbye. The block party had just came out with Seth Kushner with Yanni on it. So it was a big moment. And for him, even on the black party, he says they did not think he thought it was Killer that was going to get chosen, or Palat. He definitely didn't think it was him. So
that was his bad, because I knew it was going to be his all the time. Sorry.
We had debated the show right before it, and all the signs were pointing at the end there that it was going to be Yanni that was taken. And then, of course, it got leaked down early in the morning. But, I mean, it was his personality. He gets punched in the face, and he's still smiling there on the ice. He was a fan favorite. You know, after the games, he always stopped for the fans. I know Joe Smith did a follow-up story and mentioned me in it about how he would always stop for the fans. So, yeah, he came every time a former Bolt comes that didn't leave on bad terms. They always get their fanfare. We did it. He was back. Now he plays for an opposing team. So next time he comes in, pack your jerseys away. And next time he comes,
that's not going to happen. There's going to be just as many 37s and
no, there won't be that many. There won't be as many as there was.
I don't know.
Does Tyler Johnson or Blake Coleman or
which again,
do they get that ovation?
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
A, no, and B, bullshit that Tyler Johnson doesn't get way more love from this fan base than a guy like Yanni Gourde, because Tyler Johnson did 100 million times more. But guess what? The flavor of the month is now Yanni Gourde.
Tyler Johnson will get a huge ovation when he comes back if he's not injured.
Yeah,
he will get.
Yeah, I mean,
Coleman also. I don't think Gaudreau will get as big because Gaudreau really was never a huge.
He was never a personality, right?
Right.
Well, see, and that's the other
Coleman
thing
will
too.
get a nice, and Johnson will get.
And you bring up Blake because that whole third line, that, like I said, it was like lightning in a bottle. The whole flash in the pan, like they just kind of coalesced out of nowhere, and they were a role player line that played a huge role in back-to-back seasons. And so I think that's really, Yanni was the biggest personality from that line that kind of became the identity of this team going through that back-to-back playoff run.
To the point that Seattle made him an assistant.
Well, and that's it. Well, I mean, not beyond that. I mean, we talked about last night. Hextall was talking about he's the future of that team. He is the future leader of that team. He's not the captain now, but they're thinking about he probably will be the next captain. So, you know,
and just to piggyback off that a little bit, Maroon had been back to Seattle since he got his ring in 2019. St. Louis, sorry.
Yeah. Louis, his first coming. Did they do a tribute to him?
No, because he was
exactly.
No, they did do a tribute in 2019. He was a member of our team when he got his ring.
Right. Well,
so they did do a tribute that night. But to tell you how many Maroon jerseys were there, not just St. Louis Blues ones, but there was quite a few Tampa Bay Lightning Maroon jerseys.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of signs. And then what was the name of that girl? The girl that was made real famous by Maroon during their Stanley Cup.
Oh,
Layla. Layla was here, and her sign said, "I'm on the wrong side for a right cause." And then it said Pat Maroon on it. So you still get love when you've been with the team for a while and win a Stanley Cup.
Well, the Stanley Cup is that's the thing. It's the Stanley Cup that cements that player, you know. And I mean, I would say, like, if you go back and the back-to-back, the COVID, I mean, there's so, like I said, it was such like this lightning in a bottle thing. And it almost has been this, we've talked about it so much on the show, you know, the way the COVID and then the shortened season and how it just became almost like one long season, you know, and it's become this like one long experience. And now we're kind of back to real life. And I kind of think that Yanni game was kind of necessary for this fan base and for this team a little bit, just that little bit of catharsis and knowing, okay, boom, now we're back to real hockey, regular hockey. This is a regular season. Guys have moved on. We didn't get the band back together. Now we have new guys in. And I think that's going to be kind of an important thing going forward from here.
Yeah, like one thing that, you know, these last couple of games also made me realize, like, they're playing these teams from the Western Conference. You know, like the past year and a half, you know, like after COVID shut down, they went right into playoffs and they came back, and then the shortened season against 8 teams that they played, or 7 other teams that they played 8 times each, and then right into playoffs again. You know, the past year and a half has been just absolute wars with the same teams over and over again, and the games were just so intense. And now they have these Western Conference games against teams that they haven't seen in like 2 years, and there's no history, and they don't have, you know, the intensity in these games that we've been used to seeing over the past 2 years. And Gord especially, but those other two guys as well, were like always the guys that would, you know, if there was low energy, like they'd always drag the team into the fight. And like, you know, they still have a little bit of that sort of edge on the team, but you know, like it's games like these against the West where there's no energy, and they're missing that from them. So
yeah, and I think they're finding it, and that's the thing that, like you were talking about, to piggyback off your point about injury and how that can kind of coalesce later in a season when guys come back, is how these guys are getting time now to play, and whenever you get back to those regular lines, yeah, I think that third line and the kid line especially is that we've started seeing them taking off face-off draws to start the game, a couple of games in a row to start off the periods. So I think that if we can get some of those guys back healthy at the same time here come the start of the year, and you get to see those guys in more set lines, you will start seeing more of that ability for that line to come in and take over and set the energy. Because like I said, there's snippets, like, and you said that there's you're seeing a little bit here and there. They're finding it. Just the injury bug just keeps, you know, because even without Kucherov and even Point there, they were still in a good stride, and they didn't have to tweak it too much when Point went down. But tonight, with no Stamkos and no Joseph, you could definitely tell there was a difference in the lines, the offense, everything that they were doing out there.
Yeah. What do you think about Henry, about the Yanni kind of hoopla? Did you think it was kind of a little overhyped, underhyped, just right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, at some point you got to think the guy kind of deserves somewhat of it, because, you know, he was a huge part of winning back-to-back championships. So, you know, at some point, I think it was fairly well deserved, definitely. You know, like he was obviously a very popular player because of the energy and the life that he brought to the team. So he definitely deserved, you know, everything that sort of came out of it. And it is kind of crazy how he sort of became sort of a fan favorite. You know, you see it on social media a lot. Like everyone really loved that guy. It's kind of crazy. You know, I guess, you know, everyone loves the small undrafted forward, and his sort of journey to the NHL was certainly a cool story. And, you know, like people really love that, because that's what people love about, you know, well, you can't really compare it, but, you know, Marty St. Louis, small undrafted player, Tyler Johnson, small undrafted player. People love those kinds of stories. And when they're able to bring championships back as well, I mean, that sort of tops it all off. So I think it was certainly fair what he got. And, you know, back to reality now, you know.
Yeah.
He's in
I
that
don't
team
know.
now.
I don't know what it is with this franchise and just like finding these freaking players out of nowhere.
Right.
Like I'm going to get a jersey and I think I'm going to put on the back, look what I found. And it's just like
it should be like all the numbers, like Pally, a 7th rounder again, like not undrafted, but I mean, Pally is a 7th rounder. You know what I mean? So
I was gonna say you could get a jersey that just says undrafted on it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, so Seattle looked like a first-year team against us. By the way, they played us, they went on to beat Florida and they went on to beat Washington, which is bad. So
thank you. Well, good. Thanks for pissing them off enough to go take them out for us.
We did get Belmare's first goal of the season, which was nice. Ross the Boss put one in. I was in attendance, and I did have on my Stamkos socks. So, of course, Stamkos scored. Vasi with the back-to-back shutout, 3-0. Kraken only had 17 shots, and, you know, we just looked like the better team that night. I was listening for the Vasi growl, which as we went throughout the game and we had the shutout going, it was just more and more. You actually didn't hear it so much until the third period when they're like, "Oh, Vasi's on again."
I'm so glad I wasn't there.
But then they would play it, and they would then play music immediately, so there's no Vasi chance. Real quick, guys, I'm going to be signing off because we're going to go grab some food here.
More White Castle.
We have our flights in the morning, so we got to grab something to eat and get some sleep.
Some barbecue.
White Castle closes soon, so you better go.
Yeah. No, 24 hours.
Yeah, duh.
Dang, there you go. Get some before you leave too.
Yeah.
Bring some
All right,
back.
guys.
I'll meet you at the
I'll talk to you
airport.
later. Henry, it was nice talking to you.
got
Nice
it.
meeting you. Hopefully we'll see you again. Have a good
Absolutely.
All
one.
right. See
Go
you
Bolts.
next week, Schoolie. And yeah, I think we'll get out of here. Let's just touch on this Wild game. 4-2 loss. The Vasi shutout streak ends, and it ended pretty early in the first period of that game. But the Bolts fought that game. They really did. You saw Corey Perry score another goal. He came back to tie it right after they let up that first goal. Joseph got hurt in that game. Obviously did not come back tonight, but I haven't heard anything about like out indefinitely, out long term. So expecting him back in the next week or two. And what else happened that game? It was 2-2 going into the third. I don't know if I forget if we just like ran out of gas that game. The third period is what got us in that game because we lost 4-2, right? No, 4-3.
Yeah, and I think they had an empty netter.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, the Wild are a good team. It's actually the Wild and the Blues in that division, I believe, 1-2.
Yeah,
so
1-2. Just play them back to
back. It's not
back.
like we're playing like chop meat here. These are teams that are going to be playoff teams.
Yeah.
So you can't win them all for some reason. And Stash, you kind of alluded to this earlier. For some reason in these arenas, especially I guess that where the Wild play.
Yeah,
we struggle.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't really know what it is. I mean, over the course, it's like 11 years since the last time they won. Like the Wild have been pretty good for quite a bit of that time, but I don't even know where you even start to explain that.
I think a lot of it's scheduling. If you want to be honest with me, want me to be honest, they never go see them on like an extended run. It's because they're kind of like in that in between area of not being a full West Coast team. You know what I mean? So it's always like these quick home stretch back to back and then back home. And that's what I think. If you look at the schedule, it's almost always that way when we play them in there. It's like, and it's just not conducive to good hockey whenever you're home, on the road, home on like it's I don't know. AJ even talked about it on the broadcast. Maybe there's a little bit of a mental thing now too. We just don't play good in their barn legacy wise. It's now kind of crept in. Who knows?
Those Central Division trips have been brutal the last few years. They've done fine on going through the California teams and then the Western Canada as well. Like they've actually done really well in the recent years, but that Central Division has just been brutal, especially
because we're in and out. Yeah, it's because we're in and out when we play them. Like when we go on the West Coast, it's like a whole stretch. You know what I mean? We're out there for like a week or whatever. You play 4 or 5 games out there. When you go to that Central Division, it's 1 game, 2 games. It's never a full stretch out there.
Haven't even really hit a West Coast trip yet this season, have we?
Yeah, those these games on this trip, Minnesota and St. Louis, were the first Western Conference games on the road the whole year.
Right.
Like everything else had been in the division and in the Eastern Conference. The furthest they went away was Detroit. So,
yeah. Well, I believe they're doing a lot of traveling in December, and I'll pull up the schedule here as we wrap up. But you do have a good question from Blake here. Do you think having guys play in the Olympics will help or hurt us? I would, knowing our guys, I would just say I'd rather not have our guys play in the Olympics, but can't stop them. And by the way, it's not set yet. You've got 2 teams shut down right now with COVID. And it's not set that these guys are going to the Olympics, but we all know the players want to go. And I think they have it already carved out in the schedule. But I think it hurts the Lightning because we'll have so many guys and because we definitely have some injury prone players. And I don't want to say injury prone, but we just have the weirdest stuff happen to our guys, how they get hurt.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling good about the Olympics right now. I'm not so sure how it's going to happen, but remember a few years ago when they had that World Cup of Hockey in 2016, I think it was. And that was after the Lightning had gone to the East final and lost to Pittsburgh that year and had gone to the Stanley Cup final the year before. They had that World Cup of Hockey as like the preseason for that, and the Lightning had like the most players of anyone in the NHL. And that year they got wrecked by injuries once the season rolled around, and then it was so bad that they missed playoffs that year. And I feel like it wasn't talked enough about that the World Cup of Hockey, playing intense hockey as preseason. I think it put them behind from the start that year.
Yeah, I don't think the Lightning need any extra hockey right now. I would say that from that perspective, absolutely. And you even touched about that. We've talked about that leading into the season. Henry, you mentioned that earlier, how much hockey they've played. And I don't think they need extra, but I also, at the same time, it really depends. Like, I mean, Cooch is probably going to be on that Olympic team, and he hasn't played a lot of hockey, and he won't have played a lot of hockey going into that. So maybe it could be helpful for him. We don't really know what the forward situation looks like for Canada. Maybe it would be good for Stamkos to be able to keep playing. I know what everyone's going to say. The injuries, of course.
Are you crazy?
I know. One of the most prolific injury stories of our team is Stamkos, but I do think that keeping him hot and keeping him hungry to go for that gold medal with Canada could have good effect in the locker room post Olympic break. And then for the guys that aren't playing, I think it could be beneficial because they need all the extra time they can get. So I gotta say a little column A, a little column B on that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I just don't like the talent on our team, how many players that we're gonna have out there. And then, like you said, like we've played enough hockey in the last year and a half. Like these guys could use a rest, especially knowing we've got a full season still, and we've got a hopefully a deep playoff run that's going to happen. So let's look at the schedule here, and then let's get the heck out of here. Make sure you jump on boltsbythebay.com and check that out. That's our guest Henry today, and let's take a look at the schedule and get the heck out of here. We've got a full week of games. I'm going to pull it up here. And this is where the schedule does get pretty tough here. So you've got the Blues coming to town, coming to Amelie on Thursday. And then we go on the road Saturday, Sunday, back to back. You're going to see a little bit more Elliott this week. You've got the Bruins, which, by the way, Brad Marchand is going to be out that game. He's got the 3-game suspension for the slew foot. And then we go to Philly, short trip down to Philly. And then we've got the Canadian away trip. We play the Canadians Tuesday night. We will be back here after that game. Don't worry. So we'll be talking about that one and these other games that are playing. And then we go on this Toronto swing, Toronto and to the Senators. I guess that's the Ontario swing of the Canadian teams, huh? So yeah, the schedule definitely gets a lot tougher. We had it nice in November. We had a long stretch at home. But these games are going to be tough for the Bolts, I think, especially as you get to these back-to-back games. I always feel like we play really well in Canada, but those back-to-backs are going to be tough.
I think the Montreal fans are going to really miss out on Kucherov not playing.
They said he traveled with the team to St. Louis because I guess his doctor was there, but I don't know if he's going to be seen in public in Montreal anytime soon.
You know what's hilarious is I'm sitting here, like the view I have of the schedule is showing me ticket opportunities. It's ridiculously cheap to buy a Montreal Canadiens hockey ticket right now.
Really?
It's as low as $17.
Yeah, things aren't good there right now.
Ottawa, not much better. $15 right now for that Lightning game on Thursday next week.
Yeah, Montreal's been one of the biggest talking points about just being one of the teams in the biggest turmoil. And now
finally fired their GM.
Yeah, and now Boston's kind of creeping into a team that's sort of in some serious trouble. That's going to be that's the one I'm circling on this upcoming game. Boston, that's kind of a mess starting there.
Think Elliott gets the start on Saturday or Sunday?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know what to
Those
expect.
two-
They
I'd say
the last one.
I'd say definitely Sunday because Elliott also used to play in Philadelphia, so I think he could be done a solid again there.
Yeah, but those last two Philly games, I don't know.
Yeah, Philly's hurting right now too.
Tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I would say he probably does the second day of the back, especially since he played tonight. I would say the Vasi wants Thursday and Saturday. Vasi wants 2 games in a row. Is what I would say.
Yeah, and they'll probably put Elliott again in there for that Ottawa game because he played the first one there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't think we've been on a road trip this long so far this season. These are winnable games, but we'll see how this team responds. I think the good news is like most of the season we've been pretty good about at least, getting a point out of things. But I definitely have this worry still and have my eye on what we've been talking about for a couple weeks now, which is holding leads. And we saw it again tonight, right? So we'll see what happens in these games this week. If everyone's going to Amelie on Thursday, be loud, be proud, be the Thunder. And what else, boys? I'm ready to get the heck out of here. Late game tonight, overtime shootout. Let's wrap this thing up.
Go ahead, Henry.
I would say make sure to check us out. We're gonna have some takeaways from the game tonight. So not sure where to start with this one. I feel like a lot happened. So
yeah.
Cool. Write it up, man. Stash, any final words from you?
Take this game kind of like we talked about with a grain of salt due to lack of manpower. Hopefully by Thursday, Joseph is good to go. We get both him and Stammer back. Stammer with a new baby and a little bit more inspiration, maybe a little pep in his step, and get the ship back to that point streak that we were on going into that Minnesota game.
Cool. All right. Well, as always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Make sure you go check out Bolts by the Bay, Shooter in the Stash. The official Facebook group of this podcast is, what's it called, Stash? Just check. We just want to make sure you know what it is.
It's that one.
It's the Thunderbolts.
It's Thunderbolts, baby.
So go check out Thunderbolts. You can see us screwing around in there.
Here and there.
And thanks for all the support. I met Lynn actually at the last game. She found me up on the party deck. It's like, nice. So that was cool. And it was nice to meet you, Lynn, if you're out there, if you're listening. But this has been We the Thunder. See you next week. And don't forget to be the Thunder.